What's good, everybody? It's John. Come back at you on another video. So this video, I wanted to talk about consistency and to explain to you guys why consistency is the number one underrated skill for success. And the reason why I say it's underrated is because everyone has access to it. It doesn't cost you anything, right? Like everyone has access to consistency because consistency is nothing more than persistence, right? When I'm using the word consistency or consistent, right? I'm referring to doing something over and over and over. Ideally, something that you can do each and every day because there's a saying that it takes 21 days to build. It takes at least 21 days of doing something over and over to build a habit. And the point of building a habit is so that something can begin being part of your life, right? You don't want to build a habit for something and then just stop. So then it's no longer part of your lifestyle, right? Like if you want to build a habit for something, it's because of, you doing something each and every day, and you building the habit means that you want to incorporate it into your life. So building the habit is so that something can be part of your life and be part of your lifestyle. And consistency is ideally doing something over and over and over, but in a perfect world is doing it each and every day so that you can go from being consciously competent at something to unconsciously competent at that thing. Now, let me use an example to help break this all down for you. I use a simple example that everyone can follow along. Something so simple as tying your shoes, right? The very first time we were introduced to tying our shoes, we were little kids, right? I've heard a few times of trying to tie our shoes. It probably didn't go very well if we tried by ourselves, right? And so we had to learn either through videos, probably not videos, right? Because we were little, but most likely through adults, right? Most likely through your parents or your teachers or any other adults in your life, right? Could be aunts, uncles, or even other friends, right? Or maybe watching a video, right? We learned to tie our shoes as kids. And our first few times, it was a slow process, right? We had to, think every step through. And it took us a little bit of time for us to tie our shoes because it was new to us. We were still learning how to do it on our own. Now, if we fast forward to present day, when we tie our shoes, it is automatic. It is easy. We can tie our shoes in a few seconds. And the reason why we can do that now is because over the many years, right, we've tied our shoes virtually every single day since a child, which is why it is easy for us to do it now because we've done it so many times, right? We've done it thousands, if not tens of thousands of times since we were children up until now. So if anyone were to be asked to tie their shoes, right, they can do it in a few seconds, right? As a child, you were consciously competent at tying your shoes because it was a new process to you. You had to think about each and every step as you were doing it until you successfully did it and successfully tied your shoes. Now, fast forwarding to present day, you are unconsciously competent at tying your shoes, which means you do it automatically. It is effectively muscle memory to you at this point, right? I'm sure when you wake up and you're getting ready and you're putting on clothes, right? You're putting on your pants, your socks, and your shoes, right? And you're tying your shoes. You're not necessarily, in many cases, you're likely not even looking at your shoes when you're tying your shoes, right? You're probably looking somewhere else, or your mind is probably thinking about something else, right? As you're tying your shoes, you're probably thinking about what you're going to eat for breakfast, or you're probably thinking about what you have to do for the day, the things you have to get done, right? Your mind is probably thinking about other things while you're tying your shoes, and it's because you've tied your shoes so many times. So you are unconsciously competent at it. This is automatic because you've been consistent at doing this, right? This same consistency applies to everything else in life, right? Because to be successful at anything in life, you want to be consistent at it. You want to build the habit of doing it. Because not only are you going to get your reps in, right? The more you do something, the more it becomes muscle memory, as one. And two, as you keep doing something over and over and over, you experience it over and over and over, and you basically gain new data, new information, right? You gain new. It's You see and you learn all there is to see and learn about that one thing, right? If someone is new to something, then they don't have the muscle memory, they don't have the experience, right? So they're just have to think about every step. And then they also, in a lot of cases, don't know what to expect because they haven't gone through it enough times, right? To know what to expect, right? That's with all things in life. And this is why I say that consistency is the number one underrated skill, is because everyone has access to consistency. It's just that the majority of people on this earth and on this planet are not consistent. So if you choose to be consistent, if you're one of the few people who decide to be consistent, then you realize that success is in fact easy because you're doing something that 99% of the population or more is not doing, right? Being consistent is being persistent. It's just doing something over and over and over, right? There's people out there who can lack confidence in themselves and feel as though they've never they might lack confidence in themselves, maybe because they have limiting beliefs or just whatever it is. But some of the lack of confidence may stem from people believing that they have not ever accomplished anything. If you're someone that might feel that way, then you can begin deciding on one activity, decide on one thing that you want to do each and every day, or focus on each and every day. And some people might think that that's silly. It's like, why would you want to do that, right? Of going through the process of doing something over and over each and every day. Like, at a certain point, you're gonna reach a limit. But what you need to understand is that doing something over and over and over, you build the habit. It teaches it shows you how to go from consciously competent, from thinking through the steps, to then doing something automatically. It not only does it teach you that, you are also becoming better and better at that thing until you become exceptional, until you become the best. And in this world, you need to know that we as people, we always support this. Like, the superstars are the ones that win in society. The people who are the best, the people who are the experts, those are the ones that people always seek, right? If you are someone that needs to go in for an operation, right? And there's two doctors that are available. There's one doctor who it's his first day on the job as a doctor, and there's another doctor who is a 30-year veteran at this, right? At conducting an operation. Which doctor, you could freely choose between both options, which doctor are you going to choose, right? I'm pretty sure everyone is going to go with the doctor who's been doing this for 30 years, right? Because they feel more confident in the doctor that has more experience because they've done this many, many, many more times. And there's probably a lesser chance of that doctor messing up or making a mistake or whatever, because they have all that experience under their belt. It's the same idea with anything in life, right? If you want to succeed at anything, you want to do that thing over and over and over because as you do it over and over and over, you effectively get your reps in, it becomes automatic, and you become the best at that thing. It doesn't matter what it is, right? The goal of it is for you to experience that, because being the best at anything, it will help skyrocket your confidence. And then you realize that success is not tied to intelligence, right? See, people often get that confused and think, oh, in order for me to be successful, I need to be smart. And I don't see myself as being very smart. I'm not very smart, so I can't be successful. Success has very little, if not no correlation with intelligence, or I should say backwards. Intelligence has very little, if not no correlation with success, because what's actually required to be successful is consistency. Is showing up each and every day, is doing that one thing over and over and over, right? If we use karate as an example, right? Random example, karate. The masters of karate, right? The black belts that we see, every single black belt in karate, every black belt holder in karate at one point started off as a white belt. Every master that we see at one point started off as a student. It's just that that student, right, decided to show up each and every day after day after day, week after week, month after month, and kept learning and kept growing and kept improving until, and kept leveling up, like ranking up their belt color, I guess, going I don't really know. This is white and then yellow, right? Green, blue, all the way to black until they got to black belt. And so the master is simply the student that showed up each and every day to become the master. That's how they became successful. That's how they became the expert, by doing that one thing over and over and over. So if you want to succeed at anything, it's you just want to be consistent. You want to first focus on being consistent. First focus on showing up each and every day doing that thing, right? If you want to live a healthier lifestyle, you need to say no and cut out the sugary drinks, the candy, the sweets, all of that stuff, and begin saying yes and incorporating healthier options like water, like fruits, and like vegetables, right? And if you're consistent at it for a long enough period, you will see a transformation, right? Some people can make major transformations with their body if they simply cut out drinking soda and replace, every time they want to drink soda, they completely cut out soda and replace soda with water. And they will see that their body will transform after weeks, months, years. And that's one small change that can be done that can make a drastic difference in someone's energy levels, in someone's health, in some, like, how their body feels, right? It's all about consistency. So that's why when I say consistency is the number one underrated skill for success, it's because consistency doesn't cost you anything, right? Everyone can be persistent at something. Everyone can be consistent at something. It's just that the majority of people choose not to, because a lot of people prefer to do that thing when they feel like doing that thing rather than doing that thing each and every day, right? I know there's going to be days where you may not feel, if it's working out, there might be days where you may not feel like you want to work out, but those are the days that you still show up to the gym anyways, or wherever it is to work out, because you understand that you want to keep that habit and you want to remain consistent, and because you understand that consistency is what creates success. So consistency is the most underrated skill. It is the number one underrated skill because it is the most important. And for a lot of people, they lack this. And so because of it, they may not ever encounter or achieve the levels of success that they want to achieve, because they think that it's something else out there, some sort of special ingredient that they're missing, when in actuality it's just about showing up each and every day, right? If you show up each and every day and do that same thing over and over and over, then you will effectively eventually become the best at that thing. You will begin to do that thing automatically without thinking, right? You will have gone through the motions and experience all there is to experience and see all there is to see, and so nothing is ever a surprise to you, right? There's a reason why, you know, if we use sports as an example, that there's some athletes who are the best in the world, and the reason why they're able to be the best in the world is because you may hear all the time from athletes, they'll begin to say that the game is slowing down, right? That the sport is slowing down. What this means is that they've played the sport enough and they've gone through the motions enough where it's like things are seeming as though they're slowing down because they're able to process the information faster, because they've done it so many times. So they know what to expect. They've seen what there is to see and they know what to expect. So that's why, right, that's the saying, the game begins to slow down because they've gone through the motion. They've seen it each and every day, time and time again. So they're like, okay, this is unfolding. I already know that this is what's going to happen. And that you can create success for yourself with that understanding, with that belief, right? You want to find something that, if there's something that you want to get good at, something that you want to improve at and get better at, you can do that by being consistent, by doing that one thing each and every day. And it doesn't matter what it is. Just find something that you enjoy, find something that you're talented at, that you're gifted at, and focus on that one thing each and every day, right? Because then you'll get better at it and you can become the best at it. And if you're the best at something, then that makes you valuable, right? That puts you ahead of the majority of the population. And from there, right, you will stand out because you are exceptional. This is the same with everything in life, right? The musicians who get paid the big bucks are getting paid that money because they are exceptional. They've done this their whole lives and they're the best at making, the best music or putting on the best shows when it comes to like performances and whatnot. The athletes that get paid the most money are typically the athletes who are the best at the sport because they've played the sport their whole lives, right? They show up each and every day and become the best at it, right? Same idea with certain doctors, right? You might hear certain doctors on the radio stations or on commercials or whatever, right? Um, Advertising their services. And they'll always highlight, if it's a doctor who's been around for many years, they'll always highlight their years of experience, because years of experience, of course, takes time to obtain. And with the years of experience, right, like at least for example, like as on a Spanish radio station, I've always used to hear this one doctor who would do the LASIK, the eye surgery for people who, had blurry vision and wanted to have sharper vision. And this one doctor would always, highlight the many years of experience and the many operations he's conducted for people. Why? Because that's him showcasing his expertise, and that showcases his credibility. So it allows him to, of course, charge a more premium price because he's going to deliver, right? The same idea with everything else, right? If you want to become or, change your body and arrive at, phenomenal shape of your dream body, that requires consistency. It requires eating healthy, making healthy decisions, and working out each and every day in order to get there, right? Anything in life, to be successful at anything, you want to show up each and every day. That is the most important skill. That is the most underrated skill that most people completely disregard, because being consistent, showing up each and every day, doing something each and every day is not sexy, right? It's not necessarily entertaining or the most exciting thing. And yet it is the most important thing. And that is what will propel people forward, right? There's plenty of people who have achieved massive levels of material wealth and financial wealth, and it's not because they're necessarily the most intelligent or genius or the brightest, right? It's because they were consistent. It's because they ended up becoming the best at what they did because they did that one thing each and every day. So find something that you want to do and do that one thing each and every day, right? Strive to do it each and every day without fail, because then you'll build a habit. And as you build a habit, it becomes automatic. And then because it becomes automatic, you're going to want to do it each and every day because now it's part of your lifestyle. And as you do something every day, you're going to eventually become the best at it and become exceptional at it. And being exceptional at something will put you ahead of the majority of people because you now have the muscle memory. You now have the experience under your belt. So you know what there is. You know what to expect. You've done it all. You've seen all there is to see. And that right there is valuable. And that is something that other people will value. So that is how you get far in life. That is how you succeed, right, in anything, right? That is, consistency is the number one most underrated skill for that reason, because it doesn't cost you anything to be consistent. And that skill right there is what 99% of the population avoids, right? That they don't factor in. And that is by far the most important component for success. So that wraps up the video. Enjoy the video. Do leave a like and subscribe as we are on the road to many subscriber, guys. So once again, it's Joel, and I'm out. I'll see you guys for the next video.